couple of moments we are going to go live to PMQs for the first clashes between Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch, and then we'll be getting the reactions of Claire Pearsall and Peter Cardwell. Also going to be talking, obviously, as they will no doubt, about where we are with all these migrant cases and migrant crime. We're also going to be talking about house builders warning the government's budget, have warned the government's budget watchdog that ministers will not hit their target to build the 1.5 million new homes by the end of the decade that they've promised. I mean, I could have told you that, guys. I mean, we already knew that, did we not? But we certainly can expect that there are going to be some very tough questions of the Prime Minister. Claire Pearsall, no doubt at all, she's got to go on the migrant crime issue, mustn't she?
I think she's on pretty strange ground, though, with that. I think she's more likely to go after the U-turn on accommodation into barracks rather than what's happened with, the particular individual of Afghan origin, because he came in 2020, so quite firmly under a Conservative administration.
And that is always the problem, isn't it? And again, with lots of these stories, the Prime Minister can go, oh, but this happened under a Tory watch. Again, Peter Cardwell, for how long can he do that? Because you could just feel not just the backbenchers, but the people watching just go, oh, mate, it's on your watch now.
Well, I don't know about you, Julia, but I've noticed this language. It keeps coming out from various people. The Prime Minister is furious about something.
Yes.
Shabana Mahmood is really angry, frustrated. You're the government. It's been 16 months, guys. Stop blaming the last guys. Take some responsibility. Yes, you inherited a mess in some ways, but we have this massive kind of over-exaggeration. David Lammy the other day talking about how this was, law and order nearly collapsed under the Tories. I don't think it did, actually.
All right, let it go. I think it's pretty much collapsing now and has been for quite some time. I mean, we've got a lot of very angry callers about this. Don't forget to get in touch, 0344 499 1000. We're going to go to Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch's exchanges in PMQs. Any moment we're expecting her to ask her first question. We'll get that. In fact, let's go live to the comments right now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last year, in its manifesto, Labour promised not to increase income tax, not to increase national insurance, and not to increase VAT. Does the Prime Minister still stand by his promises?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm glad that the Leader of the Opposition is now finally talking about the economy. I can update the House, Mr. Speaker. Retail sales are higher than expected. Inflation is lower than expected. Growth has been upgraded this year. And, Mr. Speaker, the UK stock market is at an all-time high. The budget is on the 26th of November, and we will lay out our plans. But I can tell the House now that we will build a stronger economy, we will cut NHS waiting lists, and deliver a better future for our country.
Well, Mr. Speaker, yes. What a fascinating answer. It is not the same answer that I received when I asked exactly the same question, word for word, on the 9th of July. Then the Prime Minister replied with just one word, yes, and then he sat down with a smug grin on his face. What's changed in the past 4 months?
Mr. Speaker, as she well knows, no Prime Minister or Chancellor will ever set out their plans in advance. But, Mr. Speaker, I can say this, Mr. Speaker, because the figures on the productivity review that's being undertaken, this is a judgment on their record in office. Those figures are now coming through, and they confirm that the Tories did even more damage to the economy than we previously thought. Now, we will turn that around. We've already delivered the fastest growth in the G7 in the first half of this year. 5 interest rate cuts in a row. Trade deals with the US, EU and India. They broke the economy. We're fixing it.
Mr. Speaker, he says no Prime Minister or Chancellor will say these things before the budget. Has he told his Chancellor? Because she's been out there flying kites, causing constant speculation around the budget that is damaging the economy. All week, they've been briefing about tax rises. What we've heard is that he does not have a plan. So we have some ideas for him. Yes. Yesterday, they can... Mr. Speaker, it's quite clear that they need some ideas. Yes. On this side of the House, we believe in scrapping taxes on family homes. yesterday, we voted to abolish stamp duty. They voted against it. Even the Deputy Prime Minister, or the former Deputy Prime Minister, sorry, who resigned in disgrace for not paying stamp duty, voted to keep it. So, Mr. Speaker, I will remind them, on this side of the House, we know that abolishing stamp duty is how we get young people on the housing ladder and get the economy growing. So why won't he scrap this terrible tax?
Why didn't they do it then in 14 years in office? Mr. Speaker, as I said, the productivity review figures are now coming in, and they show the true extent of the damage that they did. And she asked us to take advice from them. We all know these figures are coming out. We all know that austerity damaged the economy on their watch. The botched Brexit deal damaged the economy on their watch. Liz Truss's mini-budget damaged the economy on their watch. So we'll take no lectures or advice from them on the economy. They won't be trusted on the economy for generations to come. And Mr. Speaker, that's why at our budget, I can be clear, there will be no return to austerity. That's what broke the country. No return to the instability of their mad borrowing spree. And we'll end the unfairness and low growth that squeeze living standards for working people. That's the path to national renewal.
Mr. Speaker, Conservatives reduced the deficit every year until the pandemic. We more than doubled the personal allowance. We left 4 million more jobs than we found from Labour. We brought inflation down to 2%. It's nearly double.
Mr. Tufnell, you're in my sights. The pantomime season has arrived, so don't start it too early.
Mr. Speaker, on our record, we brought inflation down to 2%. It has doubled under him. We left him the fastest growing economy in the G7. It is no longer. The truth is, they have no ideas. We're giving them some. There is another way to get growth. It's cutting welfare spending and getting people into work. Last month, I offered to work cross-party with him to bring down welfare spending, because he knows, and we know, that he'd rather dip into people's pockets than upset those people behind him. Instead of tax rises, will he work with us to find a way to cut welfare spending and get Britain working again?
Mr. Speaker, she talks about their record. Let's go through it. They crashed the economy. Inflation went up to 11%. Mortgages went through the roof. Welfare spending went up £33 billion, and they want to give us advice. And they reduced the UK to a laughing stock. Because of our budget, Mr. Speaker, waiting lists have come down, wages are up, mortgage rates are down, and other countries want to do deals with us. Just on Monday of this week, the Turkish government signed an £8 billion deal for typhoons. Earlier this year, the Norway government a £10 billion for frigates. That is because of the budget that we passed, fixing the mess that they left.
Mr. Speaker, it's not because of the budget that he passed. I started that deal back in January 2024. But and I welcome it. There are some things, Mr. Speaker, it's got nothing to do with their budget. We're lucky it's still happening. So I welcome the £8 billion deal that he's done with Turkey, but I will remind him that just last month, his Chancellor borrowed £20 billion. He'll have to sell a hell of a lot more jets to make up for that. And he won't rule out any tax rises. He can't cut spending. He is increasing unemployment. This man knows nothing about economic growth except how to destroy it. In his weakness, Mr. Speaker, he has caved into the unions with their regulations that will cripple businesses, costing them £5 billion every year. Yes, please do speak up, because I want every single business out there to hear Labour MPs heckling when we talk about the damage that they are doing. So I ask the Prime Minister, how on earth can he consider adding more burdens for these firms to deal with?
Mr. Speaker, she's overlooked the fact that we had the highest growth in the G7 the first 6 months of this year, and that growth's just been upgraded. 3 interest rate cuts. Mr. Speaker, we're not going to take lessons from them. She's now introduced what I understand to be, I think she calls it a golden economic rule, this golden rule that she's now putting forward, very golden. £47 billion, Mr. Speaker, of unspecified spending cuts with no detail whatsoever. Mr. Speaker, let me put that in context. That would be 85,000 fewer nurses, 234,000 fewer teachers, or cutting every police officer in the country twice over. No wonder the Institute for Government said she's on shaky foundations. That's exactly what caused the problem in the first place.
Mr. Speaker, the fact that he has to stand there and make stuff up just shows what kind of Prime Minister he is. We had an itemised list. We had an itemised list of 47 billion. 23 billion was on welfare spending, which I asked him to work with us to cut. He refuses to do so. All he knows how to do is tax, tax, tax. If you work, they tax you more. If you save, they tax you more. If you buy a home, they tax you more. None of these taxes were in the manifesto, which he had 4 years to prepare. Mr. Speaker, he is raising taxes because he is too weak to control spending. He's blaming us, he's blaming the OBR. Last week they were blaming Brexit. Isn't the truth that with this Prime Minister, it's always someone else's fault?
Yeah. They were kicked out of office because they broke the economy. They won't be trusted for years to come. She can't tell us what her position is on the last budget, and she's got a phantom £47 billion with no foundation as we go forward. That's exactly the mess that they caused. They've not changed one bit. Meanwhile, we're fixing their mess. 5 million extra NHS appointments, 5 interest rate cuts, growth and wages up. That's a change the Labour government made.
Right, well, that was quite a heated exchange and wasn't actually about, I think a lot of us assume it's got to be about the migrant cases, but maybe, as our guests were pointing out in the studio, a bit of a difficult wicket for Kemi Badenoch, given the abject failures of the last Conservative government on that front. Instead, Kemi Badenoch went all the way through on the economy. Bearing in mind, we're about 4 weeks away from the next budget on November the 26th. Fascinating first question, though, where she basically asked the Prime Minister, would he stick by the manifesto commitment not to raise the rates of income tax, national insurance or VAT. The Prime Minister just waffled on various economic statistics. Answer came there none. Kemi Badenoch responded with, well. She said, that's interesting. I asked the same question back on the 9th of July, exactly word for word, and the Prime Minister replied, yes, as in he would stick by the commitments. One-word answer back in July. Definitely was not an answer this time round. I'm pretty sure, guys, our taxes are going up, and not just those rich people over there with the mansions. Peter Cardwell, that was a direct hit there. That was a serious Exocet missile direct hit by the leader of the opposition.
She did very well, and I think that this is now becoming a pattern for Kemi Badenoch. The last 3 weeks she's done very well, and she did well, I think, at the Conservative Party conference speech. So I think she's scoring hits, as you correctly say. Julia, I also think that for us all, we should be worried. The taxes are definitely going up in 4 weeks. Yep. We kind of knew it was going to happen anyway, but that is as much. He may as well have just said taxes are going up. He may as well have just confirmed it in what he said. Also, he keeps banging on about the fact that the growth in the G7 was the best in the first 6 months of this year. Growth in the G7 is like saying I'm the tallest of Snow White's housemates. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Exactly. It's not a thing.
But also, again, it's just a sort of it's all we're doing so well, and then claiming things like interest rates to come down. Yes. You're not in charge of the interest rates, mate. The whole point was the Bank of England's in charge of that.
And when they go up, they always say, well, nothing to do with us, Gov.
Yeah,
Bank of England's independent.
Claire Pearsall, what did you make of those exchanges?
Well, I agree with Peter. I think that Kemi Badenoch has improved no end, and she is much better if she takes one issue and keeps on with it. Laser focus on that issue, because you could see how uncomfortable Keir Starmer was getting.
He just hates being questioned anyway.
He does. And it's really
Kamala Harris, they really don't like anyone asking them questions.
And they get tetchy.
Yeah.
And he was a bit shaky. I don't know if anybody noticed, if you could see it on screen, his hands at the dispatch box were really quite shaky. So I think he's wrong-footed. He doesn't like it. He becomes tetchy. And I think that she's got him on the ropes, and I'm really enjoying it.
Let's face it, this is Rachel Reeves' second budget coming up in a month's time, and it's going to be her last. I think we all know that.
I think you're right,
She's
Julia.
going to be blamed for everything. But here's the thing, he appointed her. He is. You know what's written on that door? You know what's written on the letterbox, the door? The First Lord of the Treasury. That is literally the Prime Minister's
someone else's fault. It's always someone else's fault. It was Corbyn's fault. It was the civil services fault. It was Sue Gray's fault. It was Chris Wormold's fault. It's it's Peter Mandelson's fault. It's everybody's fault apart from his. He's changed his advisors like some of us change our socks. It just goes on and on.
He would be a nightmare to be married to, wouldn't he? I mean, I'm sorry. I just think wouldn't he be a nightmare to be married to? Might have to take the dry cleaning, all those free suits he got from his mate. Yes. You've got to be there. You basically buy the dry cleaners at that point, wouldn't you? But no, this is the thing. I mean, look, this is going to be so crucial, and it is fascinating that so much of the conversation, front pages of the papers, and the national debate has been about immigration, given that the economy is in such a bad way, and all of the polling shows that people know the economy is in a bad way. They know it's going to continue to be bad, and people thinking that itself is self-perpetuating, but there's no sign of anything that's being done that's going to make it better. We're going to build more houses. Well, it turns out we're not going to build that many new houses.
And they never were.
And they never were, exactly. And we're going to do this, we're going to get this, there's always something else that goes wrong. I mean, the reality is, Labour have, unlike when Tony Blair came in '97, they've been handed a difficult. They've got a difficult in tray, and I've written so many articles saying this, probably far too repeatedly. The problems haven't changed because of the rosette of the person who walks into the office. What do you think is the most likely in terms of national insurance, VAT, income tax going up? Because I was thinking VAT people perhaps might not notice as much. National insurance perhaps don't as much as a headline that your tax rate has gone up.
It's interesting. I asked a couple of economists about this. I said, what is the fairest way? If you're going to raise tax, I don't want taxes to go up, but if they do go up, what's the fairest way to do it? Is it the mansion tax? Is it this, that and the other? And look, income tax is the fairest way. It's not nice.
And basic
I don't want it to happen.
Rate.
And basic rate
the one
as
that
well.
Everyone pays.
Yes, exactly, or most people anyway. So I do think that is probably what will happen. But you're right about Rachel Reeves. Rachel Reeves on the 26th of November 2025 is going to end up contradicting Rachel Reeves 30th of October 2024. They're going to be two very different people, and her credibility, if she's got any left, is going to be shot to pieces as a result.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, Claire, isn't it? This is they're on a sticky wicket, and they know they are. There's no doubt at all. The next reshuffle, she'll be out. Yeah. And that's how he's going to do it. But there's no one you think was going to do a better job.
Are we going to get Darren Jones though? Please no.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
You look along the front bench and you think, do I want her to be replaced by any of those? No, I don't, is the short answer.
Well, I think about that with Keir Starmer. They say, well, talk about after the Caerphilly by-election and the terrible, I mean, Labour just absolutely down into, ridiculously embarrassing numbers. And then we've got May elections coming, not just in Wales and in Scotland, but also across large parts of the country, in council elections, and how badly people predict Labour are going to do then. Oh, well, in Keir Starmer be ousted. Who do you think is going to be any better?
It's also not as easy to oust a Labour leader. No. The Tories have it down to a fine art. They can get rid of anybody we like, but we don't like. Sorry.
Yeah, very easily.
But Labour can't. There's a whole process. So I don't think it's going to be that simple. But his reshuffle will be interesting, and Rachel Reeves will be the first casualty.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt at all about that. Then she could run for deputy leader, like the last one got sacked. What do you make of the decision, Claire, of Kemi Bennett not to go on the stories that are dominating the front page now, the migrants?
I think it's sensible. I really do, because there is nobody's got clean hands when it comes to migration and immigration, but also what else can you say? You've got a problem. You've now got somebody who is arrested, suspected of carrying out a murder.
The Prime Minister can say, I can't talk about it.
Absolutely. So you've got nothing else really to say. You've only got one point to attack him on, and he's going to say, we can't comment.
And you've got the Hadoush Kabatu, he's now left the country.
He's now left the country, so that's over. And Keir Starmer would just turn around and say, but we managed to deport him, whereas you lot probably wouldn't.
That might make it work at PMQs, but let's face it, Peter, that's not going to work for the average viewer and listener.
No, it's not. There's also, I think, I agree with Claire's point, and I think the point of, never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. There's so much coverage of that. There's so much that people are angry about, and Kemi Badenoch doesn't really need to add to that. Whereas with the economic stuff, I think she's probably on stronger ground, certainly when you look at the Conservatives' record on immigration.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what's very interesting. Quite a few people are making the point that the Prime Minister, we don't take all of the comments because often it can go on quite a long time, can't it? But the Prime Minister opened with remarks about the scenes of destruction in Jamaica. Of course, it's about 7:20 in the morning in Jamaica, so people are just really waking up to the devastating scenes, saying the scenes are truly shocking, and the UK is ready to provide humanitarian support in the wake of Hurricane Melissa. And I think many of us, I think we would endorse that.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And we are talking about, let's face it, a former colony, member of the Commonwealth.
Many British nationals there.
Many British nationals, but many British nationals who have got close links to Jamaica as well. But I've seen some online blowback to that, saying, "Great, we've just had someone stabbed in the street. We've just had a man, on a manhunt for 2 days after a man was released falsely wrongly from prison, who had to be deported. Paid him 500 quid after he sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl, and he's talking about another country.
Yeah.
And I can understand why people feel angry.
I'll never hear Keir was in Turkey yesterday. Okay, great, £8 billion.
Sorry, was it Turkey or was he in Turkey?
Well, I don't know. I mean, where are you going on your holidays? Paris, Roma,
apparently,
Chile,
I have
Colombia.
Can I just say, I've had the most ridiculously absurd response from an awful lot of people who are incandescent with rage at me for saying, stop calling it Turkey. You don't say you've got to deal with Deutschland or La France. But it is the official English, anglicised version of Turkey's name, officially in the United Nations, is this Turkiyya. With the umlaut. But my thing is, I don't think you get to choose what another country in another language calls you. I think we get to choose that. I mean...
Yes, I think that's fairly accurate. I think I agree with that. Also, I mean, people just do this ludicrous thing. The BBC do it all the time. But they don't just say Ursula von der Leyen. They're like, Ursula von der Leyen. And they really go for it.
Can I just say
for
how
no
much
reason.
it irritates me? And I've shouted at you about this before. It's Ursula von der Leyen.
Von der Leyen.
It's von and it's von der Leyen.
Okay.
It is. It's von, not von. I lived in Germany. I worked in the German Parliament for 3 months.
Why does she look so much like Chesney Hawkes? That's what I want to know.
That is so true.
You can't unsee it.
Never.
You can't unsee it.
You cannot. You cannot. You will if you're a regular. This man is obsessed with Chesney Hawkes.
It's a legend.
I just feel like,
great guy.
Didn't he perform at your birthday?
No, not quite.
No, you did.
I went to his concert.
I would have gone just to see your face, your joyful face. I feel we've digressed. I feel
Somewhat.
Why are we not deporting Chesney Hawkes? No, that wasn't the story.
Don't deport Chesney Hawkes. He's very welcome. He's the one and only.
What have I done?
Get a hold of yourself, Julia.
Right, Nigel Farage later today. Now he's not. I think we're right in thinking he is in the Spectator's gallery again because he doesn't get picked for questions in the Commons. He complains despite having the support. Bearing in mind Labour and the Tories down to 17 points each, and the Reformers way above. He's got a 10-minute rule, 10-minute bill. Oh God, 10-minute rule bill motion, whatever it is, to withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights. Claire, explain what this is and what chance of success.
Okay, a 10-minute rule bill is a piece of parliamentary legislation that you can put a subject out there in 10 minutes. Normally it's to raise awareness of a certain issue. It gauges parliamentary support and it's a bit sort of testing, is there going to be much interest in it? So Nigel Farage will have 10 minutes to lay out his case.
And when will he get to do that? Because we've got a couple of urgent questions as well.
So it will be after those. Should it be after PMQs?
Does he not introduce it after PMQs?
He introduces it after PMQs. It'll get introduced, but he has 10 minutes. Somebody else on the front bench of the government will have 10 minutes to oppose it, and then it is put to a vote as to whether it gets a first reading.
That's going to be interesting, the vote.
It's a parliamentary post-it note. This is never going to be made into legislation. It's a political
But he wants to get everyone on record, does he not, Peter Cardwell? All the Labour MPs voting against it. Presumably Tory MPs, will they either abstain or vote for it?
I should imagine that they are under enormous pressure to abstain from this.
Not to support
Don't get drawn in.
But again, you're giving succour to... What do you think of this?
I think that's a very good move, and then he'll say, well, they voted against this, we would do it, and Reform UK say they would do it on day one as well. In fact, they have legislative people working behind the scenes to actually get the legislation ready for day one.
OK, right, well, it's been really good getting your analysis. So just finally, marks out of 10 for Kemi Badenoch and the Prime Minister.
8 for Kemi, 2 for Keir.
Oh, that bad. Claire?
Ooh, I think a 7 and a 3. 7 for Kemi.
More diplomatic there.
Yeah. OK, well, there you are. You give your